Doctor Who has ran for 60 years on TV, to various degrees of success, getting cancelled in 1989 and under heavy criticism recently.
You are the timeless child.
But despite this, it has always persevered. Just when many call the show dead, it finds new life.
If she ever remembers me, she will die.
Better than ever. But I feel like there's a key reason for how it's lasted so long, and to me, this is the foundation of the show entirely, and that's how the show is built upon death. Full admission, I've only seen the show from the revival in 2005 onwards, because look at how much of it there is. I don't have that time. When that first Doctor regenerated all that time ago, the decision was made so that they could carry on the show and recast the main character, as William Hartnell had become too ill to continue filming. And that was such an incredible idea that it became a staple of the show and the character, that when they die, they can change to save themselves. And each Doctor brings unique things with a unique personality, and often a complete change in the tone of the show every time. And that's how it renews itself, that's how it keeps going. Doctor Who is nothing without its foundation of death.
People always ask me, what is it about the show that appeals so broadly? The answer I would like to give, and which I'm discouraged from giving because it is not useful in the promotion of a brand, is that it's about death.
Time Lords have this little trick. It's sort of a way of cheating death.
Even if I change, it feels like dying.
I don't want to change again. Never again!
Time catches up with us all, Doctor.
Well, it has never laid a glove on me.
And it has a very, very powerful death motif in it. And I think that is one of its most potent mysteries. Because somewhere in that, people see that that's what happens in life. You have loved ones, and then they go. But you must carry on.
Immortality isn't living forever, that's not what it feels like. Immortality is everybody else dying.
However, for this video, I want to look deeper into one specific episode that tackled these themes. On the 28th of November 2015, Heaven Sent aired on BBC One, starring a masterful Peter Capaldi performance. It is an emotional and beautiful look at grief.
It's funny. The day you lose someone isn't the worst. At least you've got something to do. It's all the days. They stay dead.
Before diving into this episode, we need context for where our characters are. Throughout this season, the Doctor's relationship with friend Clara Oswald has been a massive focal point. Clara met the Doctor in his previous incarnation, and after his regeneration he was a much colder and confused person. And Clara brought the Doctor out of that coldness, and they've experienced so much together. But slowly this season, we've seen her grow more similar to the Doctor in being more reckless. And we see the Doctor become anxious over this early on. But at episode 10, Face the Raven, this arc built to a climax. Due to travelling with him and wanting to be more like him, Clara makes a fatal decision. And now we arrive in a position where the Doctor has seen his best friend die before him and is entirely alone. The Doctor is an alien and has lived for thousands of years, so he is an incredibly complicated character who has experienced so much, but this is potentially the most open presentation of the character, I think. We actually have a visual manifestation of the Doctor's mind in this episode, which is simply him in the TARDIS. However, it works so well because we know this is a safe space and it perfectly represents the character and serves well as a window into his mind. It also presents his mental state very well at different points throughout the episode using different lighting states and audio. This episode also uses its own codes and conventions with the Monster of the Week format and the new alien location and typical Doctor Who stuff to craft a story that means and tells much more than what we'd expect from the surface. So, the Doctor is sent to this unknown location and quickly reaches a dead end, and we establish straight away that he hasn't truly accepted the loss of Clara. For him it was moments ago, and very quickly after this he's forced to admit to being afraid. He's forced to admit to being afraid of death. And it's revealed later on that to halt this creature, you must confess a truth you've never said before. So not only is it a mechanic for the plot within the world and progressing the season arc story, but also a representation of the Doctor having to confess his fears to himself. As we move throughout the episode, the Doctor explores this castle that seems to move at times, but ends up at, once again, a dead end. However, this time, a wall made of diamond. And here we get the big reveal of the episode. We've had hints throughout seeing tons of skulls, the Doctor thinking he moved forward in time, his wet clothes being left near a fire to dry, the really old picture of Clara, and the creature being made to look like one of his childhood nightmares. It's assumed someone else is here, and many have been here throughout history, but the episode subverts our expectations. No one else has been here. The Doctor has repeated this process, and he must essentially reboot himself to slowly chip away at this wall if he wants to get out. That is the only way. And that realization is the breaking point. Hope seems lost. The only way out is so much more pain. All of this brings itself together as a brilliant Doctor Who story, as well as a beautiful metaphor for grief. In the world, the location he's at is a torture chamber crafted for him, and only he can experience it. And that acts as a metaphor for how life feels when experiencing great loss. It is going through a mental torture chamber. Seemingly no way out, constantly debating what's the point in fighting anymore. The Doctor experiences this himself, and the creature has acted as a metaphor for death. It matches perfectly with the opening dialogue and has brought in the option for the Doctor to let it consume him, to let it catch him, to give in to the grief. And now at a dead end, why not? Hope is lost.
That's what I remember!
Always then. Always then. Always exactly then. I can't keep doing this, Clara. I can't. Why is it always me? Why is it never everybody else's turn? Can I just lose? Just this once. Easy. It would be easy. It would be so easy. I can't keep doing this. I can't always do this. It's not fair. Clara, it's just not fair. Why can't I just lose?
Throughout the episode, we've seen the Doctor's mind tick, as I said, using the TARDIS to represent that, and we've seen Clara there, silent and never seeing her face, but still there in his mind to act as someone asking the questions. Of course, it's just him asking himself, but through this representation, it holds so much more weight, and he's back here again, to give up, to ask himself, to just lose. Just finally.
But I can remember, Clara. You don't understand. I can remember it all. Every time. And you'll still be gone. Whatever I do, you still won't be there.
But Clara reaches out, pushes him through this moment, creating a reason to fight. Never give in, never lose hope.
Doctor, you are not the only person who ever lost someone. It's the story of everybody. Get over it. Beat it. Break free. Doctor, it's time. Get up off your ass and win.
Hello again.
The Doctor's own mind would not allow that. Through that determination to keep going, he continues. Time passes over billions of years, while the Doctor tells a beautiful monologue, never making it to the end but slowly progressing on each cycle. telling a story that truly matches the themes to a T, and is an incredible concept to show how long the process of grief can take. And as we go on, the wall begins to break, hope re-enters, and eventually, after fighting,
How many seconds in eternity?
and after time, the Doctor breaks the wall.
It's so beautiful.
To me, this entire episode acts as a representation of the grieving process. That is what the episode is ultimately about, the Doctor's grief, and it is shown through the progressing story of the series. And after this was the finale, Hellbent, which it kind of ruins the point of this episode. In the finale, the Doctor finds himself back consumed on a rage-filled journey to attempt to go back and save Clara, despite the point of Heaven Sent being that he gets through the grief. So that is disappointing watching as a two-parter thematically. However, I think this can still stand alone following Clara's death, and the following episode shouldn't take away what came before, and it definitely does not take away what the episode stands for in the real world. I feel this episode is incredibly mature and smart in its handling of the themes, and is incorporated perfectly with the plot, as the Doctor is going through this process himself, and the world and storyline perfectly represents how it feels to go through loss, and I believe done in a way that can pull on anyone's heartstrings. Losing someone is one of the most difficult things in the world. Someone can be there 1 second, then gone forever the next, creating unbearable pain and leaving a hole wherever they stood. Sometimes to a point where it's easier to not get through it, but the easy way out isn't always the right way. There is always a layer of hope, and fighting is always worth it. And as cheesy as that is to say, I wanted to end on a lighter note, along with the episode.
Personally, I think that's a hell of a bird.